think when we talk about accessibility, we tend to think wheelchairs. That's sort of, but it's so much more than that, isn't it?
Yeah, so we often say absolutely wheelchair users have the most complex requirements, because it's not just about the service, it's about the physical ability to navigate round a space. But in terms of inclusive tourism, it's also families with young children, it's someone with a hearing impairment, a sight impairment. It can really be anyone that has a slight increased access requirement. And it's just thinking about that when you're developing a product or developing your service.
Why is this a growing market?
Well, basically what we have to consider are there's many people that aren't able to enjoy a holiday. So that, for that sense of well-being, I mean, everyone has a right to have a break from their day-to-day, and it gives you that sort of increased ability to deal with your day-to-day. So we have a whole section of society that is not able to do that, really because the barriers are so huge for them. And it's really all about that sort of transparency of information, that knowledge, that confidence. So we often say it's about the businesses describing, not prescribing. So we don't ask businesses to say, yes, I'm fully accessible. We just say, describe your business, give the individual the power to decide if you can cater for their needs. So this is about the sort of underused potential, if you like, rather than saying there's a huge growth in potential for the market. Although when you look at our ageing population, the UK, Scotland, Europe, right across the Western world, we have an ageing population, and no matter what, when you age, you will develop some form of disability. So yes, in terms of that market, it's growing.
So tell us about what are some of the benefits of making your business more inclusive?
Once you start to open up your business to the inclusive tourism market, it benefits all your visitors. So from a customer care perspective, if your staff are more aware of servicing inclusive tourism visitors, the quality of your service goes through the roof, and there's evidence to show that. So certainly from a customer care perspective, an understanding of the different types of people that might come through your door and their requirements, that transforms your customer service.
For everyone?
For everyone, yeah. Absolutely. And in this market, if you look at even just one particular group in the inclusive tourism market, like families with young children, if you make adaptations for families with young children, you probably will be adapting your business for wheelchair users, because you have to have that sort of thought about prams, push chairs, widths and dimensions of spaces. So actually, by looking at one market, you suddenly make yourself much more flexible for everyone.
We've sort of touched on this a little bit, but about opening up new markets. I know with your business, you maybe didn't think initially about birthday parties, weddings, and people with special needs do all these things too.
Absolutely.
Obviously.
We've had several 21st birthday parties, we've had hen do's, we've had one lady, she came for her 60th wedding anniversary, and she said that next to her first child being born, this was the most special occasion in her life. That's a high benchmark.
And actually having experiences like that, I mean, you're really creating loyal customers. The word of mouth, which is a really powerful tool, isn't it?
Very powerful in accessible tourism.
Yeah.
There's a lot of dialogue on the Facebook pages, and people saying, going here, and then there's a whole plethora of people say, well, I've been here, you use this taxi, you use... I mean, the information that they have within themselves, and they're sharing it on social media.
Tell me a bit about, for both of you, the barriers that people face when they are booking. What is it that you're trying to overcome here? What is it the most common ones?
So it's back to that sort of someone sitting at home looking at a website. They're looking for, now it depends on their disability. It could be for the wheelchair user, they're going to be looking to find out if it's got level access, are there steps up to the front door, is there an alternative route into the front door? Once they get in, are the corridors wide enough? What's the narrowest point in that corridor? Because we might have a radiator that sort of sticks out, and then it prevents that wheelchair actually getting through the corridor. So there's little bits and pieces around measurements that are actually quite key for the wheelchair user. But then someone with hearing impairment, they might just want to know that someone has an induction loop. So in a theatre, it's really useful to know that they have an induction loop. If someone's travelling with a child that has autism, it's really helpful to know that they have a quiet space or a quiet room. If that child has a bit of a meltdown, they can take and go into that space. So these kind of things are really important. So it's that added information about what you provide, which is why we've developed this access guide tool, and it really helps the business. They don't have to think about the questions. We've done that for them in consultation with the different disability groups. So we have identified the key questions that you need to answer from a business perspective. So the 95% that look for the information in advance are doing that independently. Probably the other 5% are using social media and sites like Ewan's Guide. So the listing is free. You add your property to the site, and then what will happen is at some point they will have either someone visit and then they'll leave a review, a bit like TripAdvisor, or they might bring it into, they have a series of champions, ambassadors that go around and visit, and then they write a review on the venue.
And also looking at, I know you looked at thinking beyond just wheelchairs and that kind of access, but thinking about people who are on the autistic spectrum, and creating play spaces and actually using that throughout the year in quiet times with other groups. So you can actually, grow your business in a sort of slightly more diverse way.
Yeah. So I think one of the easiest things is if you've got a restaurant and you've got a quiet night, why don't you publicise it as an autism-friendly night? Scottish Autism have brought out the Autism Fives, and you can Google them, but one of them I just love is if you're at the table now, customer service nowadays says, go and ask your customer if they're enjoying their meal. That drives me nuts. Absolutely drives people with autism over the wall, and they might actually just get up and leave your restaurant. Simple thing, have a wee flag system or a card system. If the card's red, don't come to me, I'm absolutely fine, I don't need anything. If you turn it over to yellow, yeah, please, or green or whatever.
I love this idea.
Come and see me, I do need your assistance.
Yeah.
And they will so appreciate, they'll be back and back and back again.
And
they will
advertise
tell,
that you're doing this.
They will tell everybody.